It was a quiet, peaceful evening in the Thompson household. The sound of the wind rustling through the trees outside drifted through the windows, and the soft glow of the kitchen light cast long shadows on the floor. Mom, Laura, was just finishing up her nightly routine when she noticed something unusual. Her cat, Whiskers, had been acting strange all day. Normally, Whiskers was a playful ball of energy, darting from room to room, always underfoot or snuggled up in her favorite spots. But tonight, Whiskers seemed restless, pacing back and forth in the living room and staring at the clock on the wall. At first, Laura thought it was just a quirky cat behavior. Cats sometimes fixate on random things, shadows, reflections, or the sound of an air vent. But as the night wore on, she noticed that Whiskers wasn't just staring at the clock. She was practically glued to it, her eyes locked in intense focus, not once looking away. It was unlike anything Laura had ever seen. Whiskers wasn't the type to get lost in thought or focus on something for an extended period of time. She would usually lose interest in a few minutes and move on to the next thing. The next morning, still puzzled, Laura mentioned Whiskers' odd behavior to her husband, Mark. I swear, she kept staring at the clock all night. It was so strange, almost like she was waiting for something. Mark shrugged, thinking it was just another of Whiskers' mysterious feline quirks. Maybe she heard something, he suggested with a chuckle, like a mouse in the walls. But Laura couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. Later that day, she set up a hidden camera in the living room to see if she could catch Whiskers' behavior on tape. She was determined to figure out why her cat had been so fixated on the clock. That night, she quietly turned on the camera and settled in to watch. The footage began with Whiskers pacing around the room, just as she had the night before. But as the clock ticked closer to midnight, something unexpected happened. Whiskers stopped pacing and slowly sat down in front of the clock, her gaze unwavering. For a few minutes, everything seemed normal until the clock struck midnight. Suddenly, the living room was bathed in a soft, eerie light. Laura couldn't believe her eyes. On the footage, the shadows on the wall seemed to shift and sway, as if there was a presence in the room. Whiskers, usually calm and collected, was now sitting perfectly still, her body tense, her eyes locked on the timepiece. Laura leaned in closer to the screen, holding her breath. Then, just as the clock chimed, something remarkable happened. From the shadows near the window, a small, glowing figure appeared. It was hard to make out, but it seemed to float just above the ground, casting a soft blue light across the room. Whiskers didn't flinch. She didn't move. Instead, she sat there, watching the clock, her attention fully focused on the mysterious figure. For a long moment, the figure hovered, then slowly faded into the air, vanishing as quietly as it had appeared. The clock's ticking returned to normal, and Whiskers, as if nothing had happened, casually stood up and walked away. The footage was silent but captivating. Laura's heart raced as she watched the strange occurrence unfold on the screen. She rewound the video, watching it again and again, trying to make sense of what she had just witnessed. The figure, the timing, and Whiskers' reaction, it all pointed to something beyond her understanding. Was it a coincidence? Or had Whiskers sensed something unusual, something paranormal, that Laura had missed? The next morning, Laura couldn't wait to tell Mark. When she shared the footage with him, he was skeptical at first, but even he couldn't explain what they had just seen. Maybe it was a trick of the light, he suggested, though deep down, he knew that wasn't the case. For weeks, Laura couldn't shake the feeling that Whiskers had known something she didn't. The cat had always been intuitive, but this was beyond anything she had ever experienced. Whether it was some cosmic connection between Whiskers and the mysterious figure, or just an eerie coincidence, Laura couldn't say for sure. But she now knew that her cat had been watching the clock for a reason. Whiskers, as it turned out, had been waiting for something. A sign, a moment in time that only she understood. The clock was more than just a timepiece. It was the gateway to a strange and unexplained world, one that only the keenest eyes could perceive. From that night on, Laura always kept a close eye on Whiskers, wondering if the mysterious figure would return. And every time the clock struck midnight, she couldn't help but wonder, What exactly had Whiskers been waiting for? Thanks for watching the video. Subscribe for more interesting videos, like and share this video. Have a nice day.